Okay, in the last video, we kind of just started playing with the acrylic paint, and I put some white in the background, then some blue, and did some blending. I'm just going to show you that you don't have to put a white background or any background, and you can still paint and play with the color. And you can mix the paint right on the cardboard. So let's just say I like this whole sunset theme. I like the whole start with white, have a little sunnish type thing. I'm gonna spread that out a little bit. And I'm gonna take some of it down here and just have it there for reflections on the water. Add a little water to it. Maybe it's waves, maybe it's reflection. It's kind of an abstract concept. All right, and then I'm gonna take some yellow. Get this yellowish around my sun. Put some of that down here. Reflection of the sun down on the water. And then come into some orange. Orangish yellow. Need a little more water. Now, acrylic paint is activated by water until it dries. Once it dries fully, water won't reactivate it because it's not paint anymore, it's plastic. It's like an acrylic fingernail. A little orange down here. Just hints of like orange reflections down on the water. Now, what's cool about acrylic is you can paint over it. So if I don't like anything, if I go over it now, it's gonna mix a little bit. But if I wait till it dries, then I can just paint right over it. Now, some acrylic paint is transparent, and what that means is you can see through it. Some acrylic paint is what we would actually call semi-transparent. So what if I want to have like a little bit of a hint of a cloud crossing over my little sun? Just do like that. Okay, now I'm going to move into some red. Put some red in the sky and any more water. So kind of making it look like clouds. But I also could go for more of a blended. Try to blend the orange and the red a little bit. Maybe the sky just looks orange and red. Or maybe this is all just cloud. All right. So I'm mixing on the cardboard. All right. So I've got all these other colors. So why not take some of the blue? No, we're gonna go to violet first. Light, we'll do like, I'm just gonna test it. I'm gonna put a little bit and test it right on here. Not sure if I'm too crazy about that. But I'll just put some over here, just for the heck of it. Okay, and then darken it to a more rich violet. Richer violet a little better. I'm gonna bring some of it down into the red and sort of make a blend. Okay, so I can do a back and forth, and that kind of looks like a streaky cloud. Or I can make little circle motions and try to blend the colors into each other. Now, when you're painting, you can create whatever you want. Like a normal natural sky isn't always gonna have this much color. You're not always gonna see, you know, white, yellow, orange, red, but it's your painting and you can create. I like to play with the color personally. So I've gone from, anyway, I'm just gonna keep moving. I'm moving on to the blue now. You know, there's a dark night sky, and when you're painting, if you make a big contrast between the dark night sky that's high up, and then it gets lighter and lighter as it comes down, it's kind of a cool way to paint skies. And it's, when you're painting in a limited space, you're bringing in elements of the wider world, but you're reducing them down to a smaller space. So sometimes in the same painting, you'll see night and you'll see day. That's what painters do. They like to play with what they see in nature. And there's, some people like to make things very realistic and just so, but I personally am more interested, I'll say. It requires a lot of skill to make things exactly like nature, and that is a skill of its own. But I find it more interesting, even if you have skill, to make it more, I don't know, just put your own little creativity on it to make it a little bit. See, so now there's like a range, and it looks semi-realistic, but it also looks a little fantastical, and you can even bring some of the purple down in. Where you have to start to be careful is if you're mixing color and one of your colors, you know, is going to mix with another color to really change the scene. Like if I was going to try to make this water blue now, I got to be careful with that yellow. So there's a lot of rich color in the sky. I am going to use the blue because I made my sky so dark up there. I'm going to kind of unify the painting a little bit by putting some of those darker tones out here, but I still want to keep my sunset look. And I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to how the color's blending. If I see something I don't like, I can kind of change it. I can come back with it over water. And I don't know what I'm going to do down there. But for now, should I continue? Why not? Now I want to show you now. I'm going to move this aside, and I want to show you the way you can mix the paint. Okay, so let's get the water down here. I've got two waters. I've got a clear one and I've got a messy one. So I'm going to go into the clear one. And I'm just going to show you how you can take a color and change it up. Change some shades. If you want to paint monochromatically, say you want to paint something in green. Well, I've got a range of green. But let's just take some green and let's add a little bit of white to it. See how much the white changes the color, just a little bit. Okay, now let's put some more green on it. So it's a slightly darker shade of that color, but still lighter than this color. Okay, and there's much more value range you can include. You can have even more in-betweens. You can go even lighter, very, very light green, almost just white. But clean the brush, and usually in between dipping it in the water, you're usually going to need to come to the towel and get the excess paint off the towel, because you really don't want to just fill your paint with water. I mean, your water with paint. That's why sometimes you just want to have a clean one over here to make sure, okay, yeah, that's clean. All right, so now let's take the green and add some darker to it. So I've got black and just a tiny little bit of green. And that is a really dark green in it. You barely see the green. So let's do a lighter dark green with more of the green than the dark. Okay, there's value range. Now, if you want to gray the green, I can take that mixture. I'm going to add some white to it, but before I do that, I'm going to clean this brush, get the excess paint off of it, make sure it's clean. Okay, now I can pull the white out, and I'm not like adding any dark color to the white. But now I'm going to mix this white in, only a little bit. Now it's going to be like a grayish green. And white's very powerful. It's a very powerful color. Well, it's not a color, but white paint and black paint are very powerful when mixed. Okay, so there's like a very light grayish green. There's a darker grayish green. If I want it to go even darker, just gonna mess with my dark over there. I can add some more black to it. Now, if I want it to be a more natural looking value range, then there's other ways you can mix. Like I can take red and green are complementary colors. So if I add red to green, it's gonna make it look grayer or browner. So let's just say I'm gonna add it to this. See, but it makes it more of a natural looking color, because most of the time when you see colors reflected, you're gonna see a lot of different colors. See, now that one looks kind of violetish. So you can play around with different color mixes on your palette. Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly finish-ish the painting. I say ish because, you know, depending on, oh look, water just spilled on there. And that'll happen. If you wanna quickly lift the water, you can get a towel. But the problem is, some of that paint's still wet, so I'm gonna mess up my painting. So I'm just gonna click it like that, and I'm just gonna leave the water on there, and I'm gonna try not to touch it. All right, so I can keep my sky going down, or I can draw mountains. I'm gonna do mountains, but I wanna finish my water down here first. So I think I'm gonna put some more white down here, more reflection before I do anything else. I want that sunlight to just really show up down here and go out and drop some little sparkle gems out there, maybe in a few places. This is just very quick, very abstract color play. That's one of my favorite ways to paint. I like painting quickly. I like painting semi-abstract. I like playing with color, but I also like it to look sort of like something. Also, I'm gonna just show you this. I don't necessarily, I like how this looks, so you have to be careful with white if you're gonna add it in. But if I wanna put some little white in some of this cloud area, you know, you can. But this painting didn't need that, and I'm not sure that I would have done that other than just to show you that you can do it. Because you can ruin your whole painting by adding white to it sometimes. Sometimes it's just better not to. So I'm gonna wash out some of that white because it already is a little more than I like. But I'm trying to do a demonstration, and I really want to get to the cleanup part. See how that turns it a little more pastel, and I kind of like that, but it changes the character of the painting, and I'm not sure that that's what I really wanted to do. But I'm gonna go back to some blue color, and I'm adding a lot of water because I'm running out of paint. See that? So I'm adding, just add water, and that gives me more paint. Okay, but it's also gonna be a lighter tone of paint. And I'm gonna put in some more blue out here. And across. Again, I got to be careful because a little blue-green water looks nice and Caribbean, you know, Caribbean, however you want to say it. But if the white comes over the yellow where you're trying to make it look like, so it kind of looks like shadow under a wave, a little bit. Don't want to do too much of that. So maybe those are waves and there's a little shadow under it. I'm just trying to unify it a little bit, just bring in the colors together to make it look like it actually is, you know, like an ocean type thing. Very impressionist, very abstract-ish. Okay, now I got lots of red left, so I'm gonna use that. And maybe I'll put more in the sky first, and then I'll bring it down to my ocean. Now you see how that brown in the background? That was a messy glob of paint. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, if that happens, you just pull it out. I can clean my brush, get more water on my brush. And then now I've dried my brush on the towel, and I'm gonna pull up some more of the paint because I don't like that thick red right there. I want it to be more. I like the rich red, but I don't want so much because it's kind of messing with the yellow and the white right below it. All right, so I told you I was gonna finish the painting, so I'm gonna put in some mountains, but first, I'm laying on some thick red in a few places, and then I'm gonna refine it a little bit. See how the color is kind of fun to play with, and just, if you see something you don't like I don't like that thick red, I don't like the way it landed, I don't like the way I placed it. Bob Ross says there's no mistakes, there's just happy accidents, and you can just tell yourself that whenever that happens, if you like. Yabba dabba doo. Okay, I'm getting to the point where I'm just trying to finish, so I'm getting a little sloppy. And I've got some yellow that I haven't used, so I'm gonna bring some of that down here. I was gonna put mountains, but I'm just gonna make the sky. Well, maybe I can still do mountains. Rich yellow sky. Cloud type things. All right. I'm gonna do it. So I didn't put any browns on here, but I can make a brown. I can make a brown by mixing orange with blue. And if it doesn't look like the brown I want, I can add some other colors, like some red. Complementary colors is what we're after here. Some green. Kind of looks a little too purple. So if I want to get rid of the purple, I take the complement of purple, which is yellow. So I'm going to use this primary yellow. And I haven't really used much of that. So now I've got a yellowish brown. Brown is kind of like a tint of orange. Well, it's a tint of lots of colors, but so you can also add orange to it. This particular orange is a little bright. But anyways, there's a brownish color, and I can make some mountains in the distance with the brown. Just some land. Now, if you want this sunset to just be straight on the water, don't put any in the middle. Otherwise, you have to cover this up a little bit, and kind of takes the, you just have to paint a little bit more, which is fine. Well, I'll just go ahead and do it. I'm just gonna bring this down here. Need a little water, need some more brown. It's like a hill mountain thing. Okay. And I want to leave that little water down there, but I'm going to, you can bring your landmass as far down as you want. But I like to keep the ocean. So I just need to put in some more sky there. Then I'll be done with this little quick, it's a real bright yellow. Put some more of that up in the sky in a couple places maybe. So you can blend with color, or you can just leave it alone and then it'll stand out more. See how that yellow stands out, and then I can blend it. But it's nice to leave some of the stand out. Okay, and then I've got this yellowish that I just put up here for the sky, and I can bring it down more into the scene. And see, when you're working on brown, if the brown bleeds through, it just makes it look more natural. Now, there's places where if I was really trying to finish the painting, I would go back and do the edges. But what I really wanted to do is show you the cleanup. So I guess I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna just do a cleanup video next.